Today in 2025, even an amateur can create a pretty good Bigfoot photo with AI. So when I see supposedly Bigfoot photos, I am constantly checking in my mind to see if I think it's AI or if it could be real. Here's one that I saw posted a couple days ago, and it looks pretty good to me, but who knows? So to me, in this age of easy Bigfoot photo creation, the actual eyewitness testimonies that I bring to you on camera are very important, because oftentimes you can see the truth or maybe the lack of credibility in somebody's face as they are telling the story. I personally strongly believe that many of the people that I have interviewed on camera are telling a true story of a sighting of the Bigfoot. I myself was very skeptical that Bigfoot even existed, but I had had this really spooky experience in the middle of the night that caused me to really constantly wonder if he was an actual fact rather than just fiction. Since that time, I have interviewed 44 people on camera that said that they saw Bigfoot with their own eyes. In all of the information that I've gathered about the Bigfoot, this next story to me seems pretty amazing, because the guy was going to get fired if he told what really happened. And after he retired, he saw my incredible Bigfoot 3 documentary, and he wanted to have me tell the story because he felt like I am a level-headed guy that would deal with it honestly. And so to me, why would anybody have any motivation for finally coming out of the closet and telling this amazing story if it were not true? And here that story is for you. The incident took place around Baker Creek. This is in the McDonald Forest region of Oregon. And I'm going to read you the exact text from Duane E. about the incident. Hello, I've been watching your Bigfoot film on YouTube and remembered an incident that happened in 1979 in Oregon. I worked for BLM for 35 years as a road inspector. My job was to oversee construction of timber access roads in Coos and Curry counties. A road building company from Myrtle Point, Oregon, LC Roads, was the low bidder on a road extending into an unlogged area south of Powers, Oregon, Baker Creek, Upper Sixes River region. During the month of August, some vandalism started on the road job. Barrels turned over and small trees broke off and packed out to the new road and placed up and down the dirt road for about 2 miles. Do you guys remember on our Bigfoot expedition in the last show, we found that unusually broken off small tree at about 8 feet?
I found a broken tree.
That's either a moose or like a huge humanoid breaking it.
There's no human that would be tall enough to break that tree.
It should be noted that the road had a steel gate on it some 5 miles from the job site to prevent entry into this area. The boss of this road crew was Dave. He asked that the last name be omitted. A well-respected road builder from this area. As the story goes, he was at the end of the new spur servicing a D8 cat when something caught his nose. He said it was the worst smell he had ever smelt out in the forest. Moments later, he glanced up the road toward his service vehicle and saw a large animal walk out to the road, reach inside his service vehicle window, and pull out a sack of oranges that was in the net type of sack. He was so shocked, he just stayed on his knees watching this animal for several minutes. He said it was something unknown to him. He described it as walking upright, hair all over its body, except around eyes and upper part of the nose. The animal was over 8 feet tall and several hundred pounds in weight. Dave thought it was around 9 feet tall, but so as not to exaggerate, he settled at 8 feet as he compared it with the service vehicle. When it turned to walk away, he noticed it had fecal matter dried on its butt area. It walked up the road 200 yards and began eating the oranges, peels and all. After eating the whole sack of oranges, it disappeared into the timber. I was called by Dave Monday morning requesting I come up to the job site to look at some track found next to the service truck. I casted 19 tracks which were 19 inches long and 8 inches wide. They were near and behind the truck in the soft dirt where the animal had walked off. I don't know what he saw or what made those prints, but I suspect a Sasquatch now. There is no doubt in my mind Dave saw what he said he saw. The cast remained at BLM headquarters in Coos Bay, Oregon for years before they came up missing. Duane E. Someone wrote me a nice letter saying, what we love about your Bigfoot documentaries is it's not all about the spooky music and the dramatizations. It's just credible people telling their story and then letting us decide what we think of it. So obviously I endeavored to get Duane to tell the story himself in a dual screen YouTube feed. But he's been retired a number of years and was not interested in that task, but I'm so grateful that he at least gave me permission to read these to you. I corresponded with him a little more about the incident, and here's some additional information he gave. Duane goes on to say that he had a track specialist from Fish and Wildlife come and make the casts. He said 6 were at the district headquarters of BLM, and the rest were sent to colleges for ID. He said that Dave called all of the employees, including himself, on Monday morning into his office and said, you know, guys, we got to keep this quiet. Don't tell other employees. Don't tell people. Reading. Yes, I was called into the office, and I was the one who decided to have the prints cast, around 18 inches by 8 inches in size. Dave thought the creature was near 9 feet tall, but settled on 8 using the service truck as a measurement. The sale was pulled by BLM. The sale was pulled by BLM and never offered for sale again. My feeling is the biologists knew what this creature was and decided to block the sale, thinking the animal might be native to that area. They got really squirrely after the first casts were made. I don't worry about job termination now because I retired years ago, Duane E. says. The BLM and the United States Forest Service have known about these animals for many years, actually since the 1930s, but felt it was important to keep it out of public knowledge to prevent hunters going after them for monetary gain or killing a very rare animal. The whole situation was handled very badly by BLM upper-level personnel. They destroyed the tracks along the roadbed to keep the story from getting into the newspapers. According to Dave, the Sasquatch was dark brown to black in color. Its face was more human-like than ape. The tracks had 5 toes on each foot. The tracks showed clear dermal ridges on both feet. The arms were longer than normal men. The eyes were very dull yellow looking. The hair looked to be about 4 inches long. Several minutes before sighting, Dave heard loud whistles coming from the timber. The animal was male. The teeth were yellow stained. This was the only actual sighting from that job. After the road was completed, the agency removed the timber sale from auction. Some of you have asked me why I think that this has been covered up by the government. My reply was, I think that it would prevent the harvesting of timber in thousands and thousands of acres of land that both loggers and timber mills desire for the continuation of their industry. Biologists were called in, but were never able to track the animal down. The supervisor called employees into his office and instructed us not to discuss the incident with other employees or with the public. I don't often comment my personal feelings on the 29 interviews I have now conducted, but to me, this has authenticity written all over it. And I really want to thank Duane E. and his boss, Dave O., for sharing this vital information with us.